Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the BillyJoe Podcast. I am your host, Joe. Thank you once again for joining us for another week. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share all our content. Without you guys, say it every week, what we do here is not possible without your help and your support. I'm going to get straight into this one. This is a little bit different from what we do every week. This one is a very important topic that's very close to my heart and also close to the heart of our next guest. Bullying in the schoolyard. If you ask me, this is a pandemic. It's been going on for decades. Nothing has been done about it. Something needs to start changing. A very unfortunate video surfaced last week on social media. Very disturbing. I've watched some crazy stuff online in my time. This was a video I couldn't finish. Our next guest is a content creator, also a lifestyle influencer. But as I said before, this topic hit home for her, and we're here to find out and know why. Danielle Maassarani.
Hey.
Did I get it right?
You did.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Before we dive straight into it, people see your page. They see quite a large following. They see all the nicer and, the nice things in life, right? They might have a perception about you. They might think, oh yeah, she's this, or she's all about this or that. Can you let not only myself know, because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know much about your page or what you do, but even the ones that think that know you, can you give us a bit of a backstory on who Danielle Maassarani is? What was it like growing up? What was the family dynamics like?
So I grew up with my mum and dad and my 3 younger sisters, so we were 4 girls. First starting off in Greenacre and then moving to Oatley. So
nice.
Very different areas.
Yeah.
We grew up a normal family, very hard-working parents. They worked really, really hard to get where they were. And very strict family too, where like my parents wanted to make sure, we did well at school, we were well behaved. They always monitored all of that.
Where did your parents migrate here?
Yeah. So
from which country?
My parents were both born in Lebanon.
Yeah.
My mum came here very young, at like 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
My dad a bit older, later in his teens. So they were both from Lebanon and they both came here, worked really hard.
Okay, awesome. So what school did you go to? Where did you go for primary and then into high school?
Primary school, I was a little bit all over the place. I started off, I think, at Chilora Public School. I went to St. Marroun's College at one point.
Yeah.
I went to
There's a few of them.
McCullum's Hill Public School.
Yeah.
There's a few. And then high school, I was at Canterbury Girls High.
Yeah.
Moved back to St. Marroun's College and then ended at Menai High.
Nice.
So a little bit all over the place.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I posted a video and then you came back with like a heartfelt message. And from that message, I knew that you'd experienced something very similar.
Yeah.
Can you touch base on what you encountered and what year was it?
Okay. So seeing the videos that came out, I struggled with those a lot because they just brought back so many memories of high school. Now, not that I was tormented to that extent, but I think I was bullied for a good few years to the point where it did stick with me for a very long time. And seeing that it was so hard to watch. I could not watch all of it. I don't think many people could watch all of that.
No.
Yeah.
Like I said in my intro, I've watched some disturbing things. Hence why I've exited a lot of those boys' WhatsApp group chats.
Yeah.
Because some videos can be very vile.
Yeah.
I've sat through and watched them. This video, I couldn't do it. I could not do it. And a few of our followers will have seen me go off in the past about this topic, and they'll know what it means to me. Now, I want you to, I understand you said you didn't cop it to that extent, which a lot of us haven't.
I don't think many people.
No, it's not a normal,
that's not.
or not that we know of anyway.
To be honest, I think it goes far beyond bullying, and I know everyone keeps calling it bullying. That's straight abuse.
It is abuse.
That's straight abuse, and we need to call it for what it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What I find disturbing, I don't know, we keep jumping off topic, but this is so important, because I do want to go back to what you went through. But I'm very, very concerned about the school's response to this, because I believe the only reason parents were alerted to what was going on was because the police got involved.
100%. 100%. The police, the media, that's the only time the school actually did anything about it.
I find that's the biggest problem right here. Not the underlying issue, but they have a duty of care to our children.
Yeah.
We send our children to school and we don't even think twice.
No.
We drop them off at the school gates thinking we're going to pick them up the same way we dropped them off, hoping that the school's going to look after our children, protect them, right? Because at the end of the day, the teachers are their guardians in that moment.
Yeah.
So to be let down like that poor girl's parents, I don't know how they're doing it. And it goes back to, again, like we've spoken about Danny, Abdullah and Layla. We've spoken about Bridget Saker losing her daughter. And we always say, how do they do it? How did they move on? How do they forgive? Not exactly the same, but very similar. Like, because I know myself as a father, let me tell you, that school will not be open today if that was my daughter.
Every single parent thought the same thing. Literally, everyone was just enraged.
I want to go back to you for a second because we're going to really delve into this. Because why I wanted you to come on is because you are very successful online.
Thank you.
Right? And I can vouch for this because I do it week in, week out. And I've been doing it for about 3 years. But to put yourself out there online is so hard. It's one of the hardest things you can do, right?
Definitely.
How did you, well, that's the last part of the question, how you overcame that to get the confidence to be able to be present online. What did you cop at school?
I was bullied just day to day, just teased by girls, left out. I was tripped over in the hallways. I was teased for things that are just, when I look back, they're laughable. But when you're
petty,
they're so petty.
Yeah.
I was teased for being fat. I wasn't fat.
Yeah.
And no offense, the girl that was teasing me was bigger than me.
Yeah.
But when you're young, you just take it. You just take it, especially when you're so soft. And I was too scared to do much about it for such a long time. I would just cop it in class. It affected my school grades dramatically. I went from being like an extension maths student to having to drop down to general and then struggling to even pass general. I couldn't focus in class. I could hear girls laughing at me, calling me names. Teachers did nothing. Like, I look back and I'm like, you had 20 odd kids in your class. You couldn't see what was happening, or you just chose to ignore it. You chose to do nothing about it. It's sad.
What year was this?
This was in year 11 and 12.
Wow.
Yeah. It dramatically.
And how long ago is that? So
that's almost 20 years ago.
So in 2006?
Yeah.
Yeah? You're talking 05, 06,
Yeah.
you're in 11 and 12.
Yeah.
That's the mid-2000s, right?
Yeah.
I can tell you, I graduated in 02. In the 90s, it wasn't any different,
Yeah.
right? I've got my brothers and his mates. They'll tell you the late 80s weren't any different. This has been going on for decades. School bullying didn't just start yesterday,
No.
right?
And it's just getting worse.
It's getting worse.
Social media has just made it worse as well.
That's amplified it, right?
Crazy.
Amplified it. So before I go on to the next thing, did you go to your parents at all? Did you tell them what you were encountering at school?
Towards the end of it, when it started to get really bad, yeah, my mum noticed. My mum was very aware. She realized the change in me. She realized my academics were slipping. She realized I didn't want to go to school. I would make every excuse under the sun to not go to school. Like she noticed, and she would question me. My mum was very aware. And then when it actually blew up, there was one day that I clearly remember because it turned into a physical fight. Because it was the one day I couldn't take it anymore. I stood up for myself.
Yeah. And
it turned into a physical fight. I called my mum to come into the school, and yeah, that she knew immediately when I called exactly that something had happened. She was prepared. She knew it was getting worse and worse, and she always would tell me, anything happens at school, you go to the office. We didn't have phones on us at the time.
Yeah.
It wasn't that as common. She said, you just go to the office and tell them they have to call me immediately. And they did. They questioned why. I'm like, you have to call her right now. I don't care what happens. You're calling my mum. I didn't even tell them anything had happened.
Yeah.
And she came straight to the school. And it exploded even worse. It wasn't good.
So can you go into that? So what exactly happened?
Look, I'll go into some of it. I think some of it's going to surprise you a bit. My mum was not going to let go of this. She was really wanting to take it further. Department of Education. She called the lawyer. She called our family lawyer to come into the school. The part that will probably surprise you is that, well, I got suspended that day, which was the first time I had ever gotten in trouble. I was not the kind of kid to get in trouble to like that. Once the suspension finished and my mum wasn't letting go of the situation, the principal called me into her office. I don't think I ever told this to my mum. I don't think I told this to anyone. And she blackmailed me. The principal blackmailed me.
Wow.
So
how'd she do so?
So she knew how strict my parents were with academics and things like that. And she told me that if my mum doesn't back off, that she's going to let them know how bad my grades were slipping, how I'm not performing as well. And I was young. I didn't want to get in trouble from my parents. I didn't think it clearly. And she blackmailed me into convincing my mum that everything's okay, to back off. It's fine. They're not doing anything anymore. And yeah, my mum just let it go because I told her to back off.
Look, it's actually worrying that I'm not surprised that a principal would blackmail a teenager.
Mm.
Because if there's one thing I've noticed now, I noticed it with Santa Sabina when poor Charlotte took her own life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm noticing the exact same thing now with what's happened with Kingsgrove North High School.
Yeah.
Right? We've already said they did jack shit. And it wasn't until it blew up in the media and police got involved that all of a sudden they're cooperating with the police.
Yeah.
Right? Or they emailed every parent in the school to notify them of what's going on. And I'm sorry, I don't want the parents of Santa Sabina to think I'm attacking them. It's got nothing to do with you personally, right? And if it's bothering you that I'm actually mentioning the name Santa Sabina, then you're proving the point I'm trying to make here. Because if me just saying the simple words, Santa Sabina, if that's bothering you, that's the problem I'm talking about. Because there is parents there that are more worried about the reputation of that school than they were of that poor little girl.
Yeah.
What does the school owe me?
Nothing.
It's like when we see these guys on the streets, they're shooting each other for postcodes, right? What does your area do for you? Do you know that they charge your parents to take out the red, the yellow, and the green? You pay land tax. You're getting charged to live in that area. You pay for it. But yeah, I'll get the tattoo, 2170, 2196. And they live and die by this code.
Yeah, same as the school.
Parents are doing the same with the school.
Mm-hmm.
When are we going to start protecting our children? When are our children going to be more important than these private schools that are charging $20,000 a term?
Yeah.
And the prestige that comes with it.
Yeah, it's the reputation. Everyone doesn't want that to look bad. But definitely it's our responsibility as parents to do something about it. It starts with us. If we don't make a change and we don't do anything about it, it's going to continue.
You got 3 boys?
2 boys and a girl.
2 boys and a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Did you sit your kids down when this came out?
Not when this came out. I've sat my kids down and spoken about bullying since preschool. And
because you hold that trauma.
The trauma has really made a difference with how I bring my kids up. And I do believe that more parents need to be held responsible for how their kids act at school. Yeah, the teachers are responsible when they're at school, but it's up to us to raise kind humans. We're more concerned about what our kids look to other people and all of that, but why are we not caring about how they treat people? Let's teach our kids to be more inclusive, not let people be left out in class, not let someone pick on the odd kid out. I've put that into my kids from such a young age, and they know not to leave anyone out. My son did something that was so beautiful last year. Like, it brought me to tears, and it made me realize that everything that I've instilled into him is actually working. Yeah, he's part of the cool group at school, and they were picking on an autistic kid in their class, and he wasn't joining in. And then they turned to him and said, "If you're not going to join in, you can't hang out with us." And he said, "That's fine. I'm happy to walk away." He literally walked away. Now, this is an 8-year-old boy.
Wow.
Like, that to me, that meant so much to me, because I want my kids to be kind. I want them to be inclusive. And I want, even as a kid, to realize that it's not okay to make other people feel bad. And I do believe it starts at home. It does.
Absolutely.
100%.
What have you told your kids as well when it comes to if they're a victim of bullying?
Okay, so while I make sure that they are very kind and very inclusive, I have given them every right to stand up for themselves. I put them into karate at a very young age to teach them self-discipline. They are ready to stand up for themselves no matter what. So they know that if someone touches them, they can go for it and they can do whatever they want, and they are not going to get in trouble. No matter what the teacher says.
Not by you anyway.
Not by me.
Yeah.
And it's happened, and the teacher has pulled me up and tried to explain that, look, we understand he was hit first, but he's not supposed to retaliate. And I turned to the teacher and said, at home, we teach self-defense. If someone touches my kid, they're going to expect that back. And I don't think the teacher liked that. But if I don't teach that at home, they need to be ready to defend themselves. Unfortunately, it is a cruel world. And if we don't teach that, and if they don't do that, they're just going to continue to get picked on.
100%.
And another thing we also need to teach our kids is to be responsible. So if they are the first one to initiate a fight or to bully, we need to teach our kids that it's not okay. We need to teach them to go apologize to that kid. I have made my kids go up to the other kid at school, after school, and apologize. And I've even said to the parents, I'm so sorry, that's not how I bring up my kids. because I think more parents should be doing that. If you know your kid did wrong, go and make them apologize. Let them understand that's not okay. You can't do that to other kids.
Absolutely. And I saw something, there was another page. I think she's into cosmetics. I don't know her name. I think she's another influencer online. She's Aussie. She's from here. And she was very vocal about what was going on.
Yeah, I've seen a few, yeah.
And she posted a response from one of the sisters
Yeah, I've seen it, yeah.
of the girls.
Mm-hmm.
That rubbed me up the wrong way.
There's been a few responses that have rubbed me up the wrong way.
Yeah. I did not like
I understand
how it started.
I understand these girls have come from a very difficult upbringing. I'm not sure if you've been made aware.
That post mentioned there's no father figure.
There's no father figure, there's no mother figure.
Yeah.
So I understand they've had a rough upbringing, but I also believe everyone's got things going on in their life, and I understand it's been rough for you, but this wasn't normal behavior. This was not normal behavior.
No.
I don't think, I don't know how anyone could do that for such a long period of time as well. Walk away from that and feel normal.
Feel nothing.
Feel nothing, and let that person just be in the state that they were in, and just walk away like nothing happened.
Look, that could have been put together, that so-called apology. It could have been put together a bit better.
100%.
I hope, I just wish maybe they gave it to someone a bit older to look over before they wrote it.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone
no,
around like that.
I went 5 slides over before I even saw we're sorry.
Sorry. Yeah.
Right? It was like point the finger for about 3 pages, and that's not gonna wash.
Yeah.
There's something that I do want to nip in the bud, and it did disturb me, right? Because these girls kept getting and I'm not, let me tell you, I got to be careful with what I say here, but I was not impressed with these girls, right? I was not impressed. And if there was a father figure in their life, let me tell you, I would have shown these girls what a proper bully can do, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not defending these girls, but something that's come out that's disturbed me, because all of a sudden now these hijabi girls, sorry, this isn't a hijabi problem.
No.
This isn't
definitely not
a Muslim issue.
It's definitely
right?
not. It's disappointing.
That's one thing.
That was extremely disappointing. Because, I'm not the most perfect Muslim by far, but I know in my heart I'm a good person, and I think with both our religions, it teaches us to be a good person before anything.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it was very disappointing, especially being in the month of Ramadan. Like, I think it really hurt a lot.
Well,
but it happens with everyone.
That's why I'm bringing it up, right? Yeah. So it bothers me. This isn't the first video, and again, it is absolutely disturbing. I think maybe that's why it made the news.
It could be a reason.
But I've seen many other disturbing videos, right, that have just slid through the cracks.
Yep.
Right now, all of a sudden, everyone's vocal and they're attacking these girls for wearing the hijab. Let me make something very clear, right? I'm actually glad this video surfaced so we can now capture Maya, and she's now got the support of not only her community but nationwide.
Yeah, 100%.
Right, so
I saw the video before it got made public.
Oh wow!
And in my head, I'm like, is this just going to slide? Is this just going to slide?
Yeah.
Like it kept, and when it hit the media, I know a lot of people in my community were like, oh, of course they're going to put it in the media. I actually was happy that it got in the media. It needs to be shown.
Absolutely.
This needs to be like, these girls need to be punished for what they did.
100%.
And if it didn't do that, the school wasn't going to do anything. Nothing was going to happen about it, and it was just going to let it slide. So why? I think we need to stop hiding that this is an issue and make it clear.
If this slid through the cracks, I guarantee you this girl goes through the same thing the following week.
100%.
And then we have another Charlotte on our hands.
Exactly.
Right? Let's not make this a religious thing.
No.
This isn't about what the girls were wearing, what head coverings they were wearing.
Nothing to do with that.
I can promise you one thing. I can guarantee you one thing. The girls that bullied Charlotte to death, literally bullied her to death, were not Muslims. So the same energy you want to bring to this video, bring it to every child that is getting bullied
100%.
in a schoolyard.
100%.
Right? This isn't a religious thing. This isn't a cultural thing. It's not an area thing.
Yeah.
Right?
It's everywhere.
There's bullying happening from Caringbah, from your Cronulla beaches, all the way down to your northern beaches, to your Manlys, to your Blacktowns, to your Penriths, to your Campbelltowns.
100%.
And every suburb in between.
Yeah.
Absolutely the parents are to blame.
Yeah.
Right? You are a product of your environment.
It's our responsibility. Our children are our responsibility. We need to instill kindness in our kids.
Where to from here though, Danielle?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't even know how you would start. I feel like it's gone on for so long. It's almost become the norm.
It is norm.
It's the norm. It's to the point where the teachers don't care about it anymore because it is normal. When girls in year 2 are bullying each other and the teacher's like, oh, it's normal, it's all at that age, that's their response.
Yeah.
That is their response. This is normal at their age. No, bullying should never be normal. Picking on people for the way they look, for things that they do, for anything is not okay. It should never be normal and we should not brush it off.
I got 2 girls, Danielle, and I got it. My eldest one's in year 2.
Yeah.
I hope I don't cop a belting for this, but these girls at such a young age can be proper bitches, man.
They really can.
It's
and
like
they're starting younger and younger.
It's on, yeah?
And some of the things that they say, like kids shouldn't be saying these things. Like how are these things in their mind? It's what they're exposed to as well.
Yeah.
It really is what they're exposed to. And us as parents, we need to be role models. We need to teach our kids that we're kind to people. We also don't, get walked all over. We have to teach them the same thing, but they look up to us. We have to be role models for our kids.
Yeah, look, my wife and I are on the same page as yourself and your husband, right? Because I teach my daughters, I need them to grow up to be strong, independent women, right?
Yeah.
And I absolutely teach them, you strike.
Yeah, 100%.
And you know what? You're better than me because you've told your 2 boys and girl, like if you get touched, then you hit.
100%.
I've told her, if you get bullied and you feel like you're backed in a corner, go for it.
Oh, look, I don't say it, but I do mean it. I don't think that anyone should back anyone into a corner. And I feel like the only way they're going to back off is when you pounce.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't like it. I have mentioned it on my page before. I have mentioned that my kids have every right to hit back, and people have said some really nasty things. Oh, you're part of the problem. You shouldn't be teaching that to your kids.
Really?
Which I'm surprised about. Like, why should my kid not defend themselves?
Yeah.
If your kid is going to hit my kid, get ready for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
My kid is prepared.
So can I ask you now, as an adult, as a mother, as a wife, I mentioned earlier your content can be taken a few different ways. And I say this with all due respect to people, but a lot of it will come from just pure envious or jealousy, and then they start giving hate.
Yeah,
right.
That's the thing. I still get hate till this day.
So
online bullying is insane.
It is insane.
It's crazy.
How do you deal with it now as a creator, as a mature woman, a mother, you know, a wife, do you show your husband, does your husband sort of feel like he wants to step in? Because again, for Middle Eastern men,
It's not easy.
I can tell you now, if
Yeah.
my wife had that presence,
It's hard.
I can't just watch
It's
her
hard.
cop a belting.
And look, I don't think I show him the extent of it. I've shown him little things here and there.
Yeah,
It does come with being, you know, in the public eye. I get it. I don't think it's okay. You know, a lot of people think, yeah, you should be copying it because if you're putting yourself out there, you should be ready to take it. No, I shouldn't be. No one should be nasty like that, you know. But look, at first it was hard. Even to this day, I think it depends on my mood. If I'm okay, if I'm having a good day,
you let it slide.
look, I'll go back and forth with them.
Yeah.
I'll have a conversation. It's actually fun. If I'm
Yeah.
not in a good mood, it's not,
You turn.
it can still affect me at times. 100%. I'm normal. I'm human. But I think I've developed a really thick skin.
Yeah.
And 99% of the time I just laugh it off because it will never happen to my face.
Yeah.
You know what I
No,
mean?
it never does.
Like I dare someone to just come up to my face and say it instead
Yeah.
of, you can be so brave behind a keyboard. It's really easy, but
Absolutely.
yeah. So I just laugh it off now. It's, I've developed really thick skin. I think posting almost every day, you kind of need to.
You have
to. Yeah,
absolutely you do.
Yeah.
Well, I go to Dan. So Dan's my he's my go-to. So whenever I get attacked, right? So I'll then screenshot the message
Yeah.
and then I'll send it to him. I'm like, right, you got 3 minutes to
sort
change
this
my
out.
mind because I'm going.
Okay.
And then he'll talk me down. He'll say, that's when I'm having a bad day.
There are
Right.
there are times where I believe some certain people need to be taught a lesson.
Yeah.
I have been picked on by grown men for my appearance.
Yeah.
They comment with their family picture. And I just think you've got a wife, you've got a daughter, and you're going to comment on my appearance or the way I talk or something so stupid. So I've screenshot the photo of his family,
Yeah.
tagged him, put it up on my story and say, I really hope no one picks on you the way you've picks on your daughter the way you've picked on me. I have his wife message me apologizing on his behalf, begging me to take the photo down. I took it down because I'm not a nasty person, but
Yeah.
you know what? I hope that stops him from commenting on someone else's page because I can take it. But what if the next person can't?
Can't.
You know, so maybe it's a little bit of a wake-up call. Someone commented just a couple of weeks ago from his business page, something about Muslims. Yeah.
I don't get it, man.
I don't get it.
I
So
don't get it.
I blasted his business.
Yeah.
And I don't care. The people that deal with you need to know the kind of person you are. And he was so angry at me for sharing it. But
What did you think? What did you think was going to happen?
You can make a comment like that about my religion
Yeah.
and you can just get away with it. And you deal with people in an area that there are a lot of Muslims.
I can guarantee you he's making a bit of money from
He's making some money. And
that
I was like, you
community,
know
yeah.
what? I'm going to let the community know
Yeah.
the kind of person you are so that it can affect you. His partner was Muslim, his business partner. I'm like, this is not for real.
Yeah.
I tagged the business partner in it too. I can be nasty if I'm
Yeah.
in the mood. I can get you.
Yeah.
I had a teacher once. Oh, the stories are endless. A teacher telling me that I'm embarrassing and I'm teaching young girls to think of their beauty too much. It was a couple of years ago. A teacher. You're commenting from your personal page. I can find your email, your school, your everything. If I send what you sent to me to the school, you can be in trouble for that. And what kind of teacher? And she had girls. I'm like, is this how you talk to your students? Is this how you talk to your girls? It's crazy. It's crazy how nasty people can be these days. And they think that typing, it's nothing. But your comments can affect people.
Absolutely, it can.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's mind blowing.
It really is.
Just before we jumped on, I just put some bloke on blast.
I saw it.
Right.
It was great.
So disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, for those, just to give a bit of context, Channel 7 News posted about 4 Lebanese girls between the age of 11 and 2 that have been tragically murdered by an Israeli,
Yeah.
one of their airstrikes. And then this little dog in the comment section with his face there writes, 4 down, billions to go.
Yeah. When you go through comments,
If
it's hard.
I don't know. I need to stop doing that.
You can't.
I need to stop.
Yeah, I do the same. And you're just like, wow, there are nasty people out there.
That's a piece of shit. And that's a grown man.
Yeah.
And here we are trying to teach 7-year-olds.
But if this guy has kids, what's he instilling into
Well, sorry, he doesn't. So I tried to look. I needed information. I needed more,
research.
right?
Yeah.
And I was digging. And sure enough, single.
Yeah.
And
no surprise.
Obvious, very obvious to see why.
Yeah.
Right? There's a cultural problem in Australia.
100%.
Right? Where, it's water off a duck's back, eat some concrete and harden the F up and go with the flow. Mm-hmm. This has to change.
Yeah.
Right? The whole thing about, she'll be right. No, she won't be right.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier I'm the youngest of 5, right? So there's a 10-year gap between my oldest sibling. Mm-hmm. So there's a few decades there from the 70s to the 80s to the 90s that sort of cover my family. Bullying has been ripe since the early 80s. And I can only talk about what I know.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you bullying's been going on for centuries, right? But let's just stick with the 80s. Let's stick with the last 50 years. The school curriculum for my sister, my older sister, to the school curriculum with myself, the youngest of 5, was exactly the same, right? The school curriculum from, say, me and my wife's 5 years younger than me, right? The same. The school curriculum from my wife to her youngest brother, which there is a 12-year difference, exactly the same. From her youngest brother, who's 24, to my daughter, who's 7, the school curriculum is exactly the same. So I think you guys understand what point I'm trying to make here. Technology has come so far, right? Society has come so far. Businesses, innovations, inventions, things are drastically different from the 80s to today. Everything's evolved. The building standards have evolved, right? The mechanical standards, the vehicle of our vehicles have evolved. Mm-hmm. Every industry in the world has evolved. Yeah, our school curriculum is exactly the same.
Yeah.
I believe, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to keep saying it, and I'm going to push for it. I've got some big things happening, Danielle, and I've got some very powerful people behind me, backing me. So let me tell you, if no one's going to ruffle feathers, I can promise you I am. The school curriculum must, the same way we have maths, we have science, we have geography, we have history, we have PE, there must be a subject introduced. We don't want a men's mental health day, in November for one day. We don't want an Are You Okay day. We don't want an anti-bullying day. We don't want these 1 or 2 days, or let's get a guest speaker. Like I've done school talks before. I've done motivational speaking at schools, which mind you, I'm really getting back into it. I'm releasing my book this year. I'm going hard, and I'm really driving this whole bullying, and I want to go from school to school across the country to really push this point. But you can bring in guys like myself to give a talk for an hour. Not good enough.
Needs to be all the time.
Every day.
Yeah.
The same way we spend 45 minutes or an hour, however long a period is. You do Period 1 maths, period 2 science, period 3 history. Then we go to recess. Period 4 PDHPE. Period 5, we're going to have social media / technology / bullying.
Yeah.
It has to be a subject.
Yeah.
Because
if parents aren't going to instill it into their kids' minds, well, at school they should.
The curriculum has to.
100%.
It has to, because let me tell you, if a teacher is standing at the front of the class and they have their whiteboard or their laptop or whatever technology they use today, and they're sitting there talking about bullying, I can guarantee you the kids in that class, even the bully, what are we doing right now? We're putting that kid on blast.
Yeah.
Without putting him on blast.
Without saying his name. We're just saying the situations that have occurred and explaining how it's not okay.
Kids need to understand the effect, right? We had a guy on a few months ago, and he spoke about how a guy reached out to him after 30 years because he was his main bully. And he said, mate, I didn't know the effect I had on you. And kids don't.
They don't. They really, really don't. And I do agree with that. But I think it's up to us as parents to be like, how would you feel if this happened to you? How would you feel if someone picked on you for this? You need to create that experience for your kids so they can understand that we need to think about how other people feel, how what we do can affect other people. They need to be more self-aware.
100%. I got 2 questions for you, and it's gonna be tough, Danielle. So I want you to brace yourself.
All right, here we go.
And I want you to be really honest.
Okay.
If Maya was your daughter, what would your next move have been?
You'd have to bail me out of jail. Honestly, and I think that everyone I know feels the same. Wow. I can't. I don't know how her parents are right now. I don't know if I could just live a normal life after that. I wouldn't be able to live a normal life after that. I would make sure that they pay for what they did. And I know they don't have parents around or they're not in the picture. But in a situation where there are parents, those parents are paying for what their kids did because they are responsible at the end of the day. Yeah, that's just rough.
How old's your daughter?
She's 7.
7. How do Maya's parents come back from knowing your daughter got asked to bark like a dog?
I don't know if they've watched the videos. I'm guessing that they have. I would not be able to sleep. Like, I feel for them. I feel for her. I've actually reached out to her. I feel for her parents. How do you come back from that? My bullying was not like that. But I still, I'm glad I've moved past it. I'm very happy where I am in my life now. But it still comes to my mind. I still remember, every time I was tripped over in the hallways, every time my lunch was stolen out of my bag. I remember that. And they're probably going to see this. They definitely are going to see this. And I wonder, do they realize what they did to me? Or were they just kids and it just meant nothing? I don't know.
My other question. Now, understand these girls have come from a broken home. Say it was your daughter that was dishing this treatment out. Sorry, what was your husband's name?
Sam.
Sam. How would Danielle and Sam approach this? What would your next move have been if your daughter was at the forefront of dishing out this treatment?
I personally don't believe, from what I've instilled in my kids, that it would get to that.
No,
You know?
Let me just
But-
make it clear
Yeah,
why
yeah.
I'm asking you this question. I want parents out there
Yeah.
that, because parents aren't stupid.
That you know
If your kid's a bully, right?
Look, I also wonder, are parents questioning their kids after school? I talk to my kids. I'm like, who did you play with at recess? Who did you play with at lunch? I recognize their friendship patterns. Oh, why didn't you play with this person? Why did, what happened?
Yeah.
As a parent, I think it's important to be aware of what's happening so you can know, why weren't you playing with this person? What happened? Maybe I question my kids too much, but I understand who my kids' friends are, what happened most of the day. And when my kid's wrong, I tell them. There are many times, like especially with my eldest kid, because, you can give and take. I'm like, look, it's not a nice thing to do that, or you need to be more understanding. I think it's very important to understand what's happening in your kids' lives from a young age so that when they get to the point of high school, like we haven't started high school. I'm scared for high school. But I feel if you instill the right things from a young age, you're hoping that you're going to have a good result at the end.
Absolutely. Why I'm asking these questions is because, like we said, there's parents out there that are looking now, even if, they could have been naive to the fact, because let's be real, every parent, my son is good. No,
Yeah.
he will never do this. She'll never do this.
100%.
Or even as they get older.
I've heard it.
Yeah,
from
my
parents.
son will never do drugs. He'll never.
Yeah. And
We get it, right? But there's a parent there that's watching everything unfold, and what if they're now thinking, right, hang on,
I need to look into
my kids, right?
Yeah.
By all means, I'm asking her, just in general, I understand and this is why you're here, Danielle, because you made these comments where, my kids, will get disciplined if they ever did it, right?
100%.
And that was massive for me. And the whole, I teach them to fight.
Yeah.
That was another massive thing for me.
It's a hard balance.
It is very hard.
Yeah.
Right? When do I strike?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What would your next move, yours and Sam's, what would it have been if one of your kids was...
I don't know if I'm allowed to say it legally.
Why? Oh.
Disciplining our kids. We get in trouble for disciplining our kids.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to be completely honest, bring back old school discipline. And I think that's why everything's gotten so much worse. We need old school discipline. If your kid is doing wrong, I don't know. I believe in old school discipline.
100%.
And if that was my kids that did that, they're going to cop it bad.
If I tell you... Daniel, the fear I had of my father and my mother
Same.
was terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah? Like, even my mum, all she had to say, say we mucked up at home.
Yeah.
She'll just look at us.
It was just a look. The eyes. The eyes said it all.
And in Arabic, she would be like, your dad's coming home.
And then you just die inside.
That was it. Yeah?
You're gone.
That was it. There was terror. There was the sweats.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There was like, how can I go to bed? I've pretended to be asleep.
Oh, we've all done it.
Yeah?
We've all done it.
And the belting still woke me up.
100%.
But then put me back into the coma that I was hoping I was in.
100%. I think we all got it went back then. I feel like that's gone, obviously, because we're not allowed to hit our kids anymore. But I feel like the kids' behaviors are getting worse and worse. I see kids out in public sometimes. I'm not saying my kids are perfect. They're far from perfect.
Yeah.
But sometimes I see other kids' behavior and I see the way their parents are reacting. I'm like, are you really not going to do anything about that?
Yeah.
Like, are you just like, oh, please don't. No. The parent's word is stronger than anything. Like
100%.
if I tell you, do not do that, you know not to do that. You know you're going to be in a lot of trouble if you continue.
Absolutely.
So I think parents need to be a bit firmer.
I now need to be careful.
See?
Because
it's a touchy subject.
It is. And I've spoken about the curriculum, but I'm sorry if, like, we have juvenile detention centers, right? What do they actually get used for? Is this not a case? And again, I'm asking for an opinion here, Danielle. Is this not a case where these girls get 6 months in a juvie center? Or is that too harsh of a penalty?
I'll be honest, I personally don't think it's too harsh. I don't think it's harsh. I think what they did is not kid or child behavior. What they did is adult things.
Yeah.
They should face adult punishment. They really should. What they did is not a joke. Like I said before, I know everyone keeps calling it bullying. This is abuse.
Yeah.
What they did, they abused her. That's not something that should be punished as a child. Not in my eyes.
I 100% agree. The juvenile system doesn't get used enough,
No.
right? Which is why we have a massive problem in the schoolyards.
Mm-hmm.
We have a massive problem online, right? Like the government want to bring out hate speech laws, right?
Have you heard of the code of conduct that they want parents to sign
So
before going to school?
I'm so glad you brought that up.
It's a joke.
A piece of paper was their answer.
Yeah.
A piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a comment, someone put up a comment and it was fucking great. They're asking for a pinky promise that their child will behave.
Yeah, yeah. If you need to be told that, if you need to, like, where are you? Like, as a parent, this is stuff that is just should be required.
Yeah.
It's your responsibility. It really is. We shouldn't have to sign a code of conduct. We should know that already as parents. And if you don't already know that, I'm sorry, you shouldn't be a parent.
100%.
We have that responsibility. We really do. Bringing children into this world is a responsibility.
If they are teenagers, so from the age of 13 up, there has to be a juvenile detention involved in the punishment. Mm. If they are younger, the parent has to be punished. I'm sorry, but these parents that are walking around thinking that they've got angels for kids, right? I'm sure a $10,000 fine will wake them up.
100%.
Yeah?
100%.
That's just like bottom level type punishment.
Yeah.
Right? If your kid is caught bullying, I'm giving the government another revenue stream here.
Hey, listen. If you're driving and your passenger doesn't have a seatbelt, who gets punished?
The driver. Thank you very much, Danielle.
That's it.
What a great analogy.
Yeah.
You are bang on there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah? The driver cops it. Mm-hmm. Who's the driving force behind the household?
That's it. Exactly.
Mum and dad, right?
100%.
Mr. Albanese, I'm giving you the answer. Mum and dad cop a $10,000 fine, and let's have like severities.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So the lower end of the scale, you get a $2,000 fine.
Yeah.
Right? Something that these girls did, mate, Alba, you can make 5 bands off the bat.
Seriously.
$50,000.
Yep. How are you going to enforce it when there's no parents in the picture?
That's when the kids go to that's when the kids go to juvie. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This girl, Danielle Maya could have been another statistic.
100%. 100%.
You know, we have a young boy, R2, who I haven't even spoken about, right, from the eastern suburbs.
Yeah.
Who took his life tragically. 11 years old. 11 years old.
You can't tell me that bullying is normal and then 11-year-old kids are taking their own life. You can't.
But what's the government done since? What's the government done, right, since Charlotte?
Nothing.
What have you implemented? What have I heard? What's come out of that school? the girls that are responsible for this, right? Have they been punished?
They're being protected.
Protected.
Everyone gets protected.
Yeah.
Even when my kid, he was in kindy, he hit a kid. The teacher couldn't tell me who he hit. I asked her, I want to know because I want my son to go and apologize. She said, I'm not allowed to tell you. You can ask him and he can tell you, but I'm not allowed to tell you. Like, I understand the teachers are like, they're being really strict on them and they, you know, but why are we protecting to that extent? I had to ask my son who he hit and he went and apologized.
Yeah, there's no, common sense now is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no more common
because
sense.
They're scared they're going to get in trouble.
There needs to be drastic changes. This is a pandemic, Danielle.
Yeah.
This ain't going away.
No.
Right? And again, all I can think of now is I'm so glad we got to save, and I don't know to what extent, right? Because there's going to be trauma there.
100%.
As much support as Maya's going to get, there's going to be trauma there.
100%. I really hope she gets the help that she needs.
So do I, because there does need to be professional help.
I do agree, yeah.
Thrown her way.
Yeah.
Hopefully we got to save her.
Yeah.
Right? But Charlotte's parents didn't get the chance to save her. And did you know they were complaining to the school for a year and a half?
Yeah.
Going to them.
It doesn't surprise me.
Back and forth.
It doesn't surprise me.
Saying this is what's going on.
Yeah. They don't do anything about it.
And they done nothing.
They don't do anything about it.
Danielle, we can talk about this
Forever.
till the cows come home. I can't thank you enough for jumping on and giving us your thoughts and your views, and I'm so glad that you do what you do and where you came from. I'm so proud of that too.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is something that is honestly I'm really passionate about this because it affected me, because I see that it still happens, and I really do think that the word needs to get out more. It's really important.
I want to ask you something before we do wrap this up. When you started your social media page, right? Do you remember your first ever video?
The thing is, I'd never started trying to be an influencer. I had a business page, and then that started to die off, and I had my kids. I had no time for the business anymore, and then people were just more interested in my life. Okay. And so it was just like a bit of a natural transition. It was a very natural transition. I don't even remember where it started.
So did you ever have that thought? Did what happened back at school ever come to the forefront of your mind?
It definitely did, especially like when I started seeing particular people from the past starting to follow me. Oh, wow. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, this is awkward. What are they thinking? But then I just moved past it. I just moved past it because I think you get to a point in your life that you're just happy and you're content and, you know, it doesn't matter anymore. Yeah. Yeah, but it was very interesting. What piece of advice would you give a young girl or a teenager that wants to do something like you do, or anything for that matter? Yeah. And that they have endured bullying? What advice would you give that young girl? How can she move past? How can she grow? How can she be bigger, better? I would say just be confident and don't worry what people think. It really doesn't matter as much as you think. You think that these people's opinion means something, and it really, at the end of the day, it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. The world is so big. There is so much out there that these little opinions, they really mean nothing. And then, you know what, at the end of the day, you see where you are, where other people ended up, and you realize that God has his ways, you know? Absolutely. So just move past it. I love it. Danielle, thank you so much for joining us on the BillyJoe Podcast. We wish you nothing but the best. God bless you and your family. Thank you. And well done on what you're doing with your kids. Thank you so much. You and Sam, keep it up. Thanks. Guys, that is us for another episode.
I had to really try hard. And I know Danielle had to try hard to bite her tongue because this is a serious topic. This is real, and this affects every single one of you out there. Even if you're not parents, it could be a niece, it could be a nephew, it could be a little cousin. For the parents out there, I would really, really hope you can sit your kids down to watch this one. I do apologize. I did swear once, I think, but it's pretty much PG. But then again, going off what I saw coming out of that video, these kids know far worse words than what I've said on this episode. To our government, I want to leave you with this. We trust you with our children, and you are letting every single one of us Aussies down. Do better. Start doing what you get paid to do, and that is to protect us. That is to elevate us and to make this country great. At the moment, we don't feel that it's so great because we're not safe. Our children aren't safe. I don't care how much you pay for your school fees. I don't care what school you go to. I don't care what suburb you are in. We've had teenage suicides come out of private schools. We've had teenage suicides come out of public schools. Do not think that bullying doesn't affect you because you live next to the water. Bullying affects everyone. Please, as parents, be more vigilant with your children. Just like Danielle said, get involved with your kids. Ask the question, how was your day? Who did you let's know more about our children and their day. And you know what? If your child is a bully, it's not the worst thing. It's not embarrassing. It's embarrassing if you let it go. Nip it in the butt as soon as you can, because at the end of the day, it comes back down to us, mums and dads. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm your host, Joe Marroun, and we'll see you on the next one.
It's the BillyJoe Podcast, where the truth gets told. Stories from the heart, yeah, the vibe is bold. Talking real life, breaking through the pain. Every single episode, a change in the game.